Picture this for a second. You and a friend go out to a really high-end restaurant, and you both order two identical dishes. They're made from the exact same underlying ingredients, prepped in the exact same kitchen. But when they actually arrive at the table, one dish looks like it belongs on the cover of an edgy design magazine, just bursting with bold, spicy flavors. The other? It's the ultimate comfort food, perfectly balanced, reassuring, exactly what you want every single day. Well, this isn't just a culinary thought experiment. This is literally what's happening right now in the electric vehicle market, with two of the absolute most fascinating cars on the road today.
Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're digging into a brilliant split-screen view of modern automotive engineering. We are putting two heavyweights head-to-head. In one corner, we have the purely rational, sensibly matured Volkswagen ID.3 Neo, and in the other, the deeply emotional, rebellious Cupra Born. On paper, they're siblings. But in reality, they're fighting for completely different drivers. We're going to explore how one massive industrial philosophy managed to produce two radically different personalities and hopefully help you figure out which one actually belongs in your driveway.
Section 1. The Shared Electric DNA.
Okay, let's dive right into this shared electric DNA. Before we can really appreciate how wildly different these two cars feel out on the road, we've got to look under the skin. Because underneath the sharply creased metal and the fancy copper badges, the Volkswagen Group has effectively given us the exact same foundation. For example, both of these cars measure 2,070 millimeters in width and feature the exact same 385-liter boot capacity. Now that is plenty of space for a massive grocery run or tossing in a large pushchair, though it's naturally a bit tight if you're trying to pack for a month-long European expedition with a family of 4. But because they maximize their electric-only platform by pushing the wheels right out to the absolute corners, both offer brilliant passenger space that genuinely rivals much larger vehicles.
And beyond the tape measure, they share the exact same mechanical components, the whole shebang. They both sit on Volkswagen's MEB platform, which is their dedicated foundation for EVs. They use identical battery packs, the same core infotainment hardware, and they both feature rear-wheel drive systems. Having a rear-wheel drive setup in a compact hatchback gives it this wonderfully balanced push out of corners, though it can get a bit lively if you're a bit too enthusiastic on a damp, slippery roundabout. Mechanically, they're identical twins, and honestly, that's exactly what makes their wild personality differences so fascinating. Two totally different design teams took these exact same ingredients and just ran in completely opposite directions.
Section 2. The Brain. VW ID.3 Neo.
Let's start with the sensible sibling. Think of the brand new VW ID.3 Neo as the brain of the operation. It's the mature, highly rational choice for a daily driver. You see, the original ID.3 had the incredibly tough job of being the symbolic people's EV, carrying the weight of just massive expectations. But with the Neo, Volkswagen took a step back, listened to the feedback, and really polished the formula. It's intentionally designed to be the car that just disappears underneath you. It's softer, incredibly well soundproofed, and totally engineered for calming highway cruising. The soft ride is brilliantly relaxing for those long highway stints, right until you actually want to feel a connection to the road on a twisty back lane, at which point it politely asks you to dial it back a notch.
So how does this actually translate to the spec sheet? Well, the ID.3 Neo boasts some seriously impressive numbers. You can spec it with a massive 79 kilowatt-hour battery, allowing for up to 183 kilowatts of DC fast charging. This unlocks a WLTP-tested range of up to 630 kilometers. Now, this massive range is absolutely fantastic for curing any road anxiety, though your bladder will inevitably need a break long before the car ever does.
But actually, perhaps the biggest win for the Brain is its cabin philosophy. Volkswagen explicitly prioritized common-sense usability over exhausting digital gimmicks. They brought back physical intuition and centered the whole experience around a crisp, super easy-to-read 12.9-inch central touchscreen. The ID.3 Neo is just a universally agreeable, polite companion. It's not trying to be weird, it's just trying to be really good.
Section 3. The Heart, Cupra Born.
But what if you don't want a polite companion? What if you want a car that actually makes you feel something? Enter the Cupra Born. This is the heart of the operation. If the ID.3 is the sensible manager in a tailored suit, the Born is the rebellious, attention-seeking sibling wearing a leather jacket. Cupra explicitly calls out this emotion in their design language. The Born has this aggressive, sharper aesthetic. It features a lower nose, a rear bumper styled like a race car's diffuser, and Cupra's signature copper details splashed across the grille and interior. Unlike the ID.3, This is an EV that actively wants people to stare at it in the supermarket car park. It's pure, unfiltered attitude.
And just look at the sheer power output of the top-tier VZ model, 326 horsepower. Cupra isn't just playing dress-up here. They've backed up those aggressive looks with some serious punch. To handle all that power, they gave it a much firmer, more robust sport suspension. Now, that rigid suspension is absolutely thrilling when you're linking corners on an empty road, right until you hit a nasty pothole on your morning commute and spill your coffee everywhere.
The Born is engineered entirely around dynamic involvement. It features standard e-boost for an instant shot of power, launching that VZ model from 0 to 100 km/h in just 5.6 seconds. Inside, it swaps the flat comfort seats for standard bucket seats and noticeably sharpens up the regenerative braking and pedal response. The whole point is to immerse you in the drive. Those standard bucket seats are incredible at holding you tight through quick bends, though they can feel a bit snug if you're trying to get comfortable after a heavy Sunday lunch.
And I think this brilliantly illustrates the grand divide here. On one side, the brain, muted, comfortable, rational, and sensible. On the other side, the heart, aggressive, stiff, passionate, and rebellious. It is genuinely remarkable how they took the exact same motors, the same batteries, and the same chassis, and tuned them into total polar opposite personalities. One wants to isolate you from the journey to make it as easy as possible. The other wants to amplify the journey to make it as fun as possible.
But as always, personality comes at a cost. When we look at starting prices, the value proposition leans heavily in one direction. The VW ID.3 Neo starts around £30,860, or roughly €33,995, which is backed by some pretty aggressive incentives right now. The Cupra Born, meanwhile, starts significantly higher, hovering near the €39,990 mark for its base models and climbing well above that for the high-performance VZ. So apparently, being a passionate rebel comes with a pretty hefty premium invoice attached to the windshield.
Which brings us to the ultimate question. Why pay more? With the Cupra Born, you aren't paying for more boot space. You aren't getting a better infotainment screen. You are paying purely for emotion. You're paying for exclusivity, superior interior textures, standard alloy wheels, and a dramatically sharper steering feel. That sharper steering is an absolute joy when you are navigating a winding mountain pass, though it can get a bit tiring on your arms if the road surface is rough and heavily rutted. Basically, you are paying for the rare privilege of driving a car that still acts like a hot hatch, rather than just an electric appliance.
Section 4. The final verdict.
So, the crucial point is this. Your decision doesn't actually come down to the spec sheet. Both of these cars are excellent, highly capable modern electric vehicles that have totally ironed out the bugs of their earlier iterations. The choice is a profound reflection of your own driving philosophy. It's the classic battle between uncompromised everyday value and raw driving passion. The ID.3 Neo makes perfect sense. It is the definitive smart choice. But the Cupra Born? That makes you smile. It proves that the electric era doesn't have to be entirely devoid of soul. So I have to ask you, are you team brain, prioritizing polished comfort and saving a bit of cash? Or are you team heart, totally willing to pay the premium for aggressive styling and a suspension that demands your attention? Which one would you actually park in your garage? Take a moment to really think about it and be sure to leave a comment with your choice. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep feeding that curiosity.